everybody. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper, and welcome back to Build. You likely know our next guest, Tamara Taylor, from her 12 seasons on the show Bones, but now she's putting on her monster hunting hat in the new Netflix series October Faction. Based on the successful comic, the series follows a married couple who balance their life as secret monster killing in a secret monster killing organization with raising teenagers. Put your hands together for Tamara Taylor.
Aw, thank you guys.
First, how you doing today?
Oh, great, thanks. Oh, I've got to talk into the microphone.
Now we've got it.
Yeah.
I've been on social media. The reviews for this show are so good. What I love about where we are with TV is that people can binge things.
It's so great.
And I've read so many tweets about people like binging this in one sitting,
which is amazing to me. When I'm a binger myself,
yeah.
But it's always shocking when you find people actually doing that with your show. Right? It's like, yay! It's so cool. It's so cool.
And this show, I mean, it caught me off guard. The first 2 minutes were so unexpected.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything going in. So that was
that's great.
Yeah, it was a really nice kind of surprise.
Yeah.
So what drew you to this project?
Well, I'm a huge fan of graphic novels, and it's based on a graphic novel by IDW. And the art, I got a call about the show, and they sent me a package with the graphic novel, a lookbook, basic synopsis for the first season. And I was in like first scene. That first scene you saw, I was like, okay, if the rest is as good as this, I am so there. I'm so there.
No hesitation.
None.
And had you done this kind of genre before?
No, I've been a fan of this genre. So it was actually really cool that I actually got to be in a show that's one of my favorite genres, actually. Yeah.
And especially what I love when they make the transition from like a comic or a graphic novel, that fan base is already so into it. I think that would make it more fun to get to bring these characters to TV.
Well, and you know what was interesting about this one? I think it was just obscure enough that we could play with it and sort of give it a little bit. I think our showrunner he fleshed out a little more of the story, because the graphic novel, all of the characters were there. They were really clearly defined, but not quite as much as they are in the show. So it was fun to be able, I think we had more artistic license. Yeah.
And I talked about the premise a little bit, but how do you describe the show when people ask you?
Do you know what? I struggle. This is not an easy show to describe. It's totally, I've been trying to figure it out. I would say on a really optimistic day, it's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith meets Supernatural, or Buffy the Vampire Slayer, maybe. It's an odd one. It's actually, at its heart, it's a family drama, but it's wrapped up in a sci-fi fantasy bow. We've thrown in monsters and monsters, which I'm sure you guys are kind of figuring out are a metaphor, sort of for society, for our fear of the other. It's an interesting one. It's an ambitious show.
We do see that so your character has twins.
Yeah.
And they're in high school, and they're back in this small town, and this is a very worldly family. So them coming into a small town is already
Barrington on Hudson.
Yeah.
The town that they ran away from.
Exactly. It's already uncomfortable for a biracial family and all of those things.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the monsters as metaphors, we see the kids sort of dealing with real life, actual life monsters, not scary monsters, but things like homophobia and racism.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So take me through just exploring those themes in the show.
Well, it's really nice because you've got the adults, literally battling monsters. And the children are, I think, discovering that there may be something slightly unusual about themselves. But, you throw some hormones into the mix and a little high school, and they are literally battling their own demons within the high school cliques and, self-discovery and trying to fit into a new town. And it makes for some interesting, definitely high stakes fun.
Because there's always that moment when you move somewhere new, you already feel other.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, okay, is it just that I'm other, or is it this place? And then you sort of layer on the magic and then all of the social issues, and you're like, these kids, they got an uphill battle.
Oh, my gosh. Well, and I love that just very casually taking on race, right out of the gate. Interracial couple. The son's gay. You know, the daughter doesn't quite know who she is yet. We're going for it.
But I'm in. I'm only 2 episodes in, and immediately that family closeness, that dynamic that you guys have, really is what is keeping me interested. Because as we're sort of pulling back the layer with the magic and it's like the family stuff that I'm really kind of most invested in. Like, how is it going to impact this family?
Oh, that makes me so happy, because that's really what we were focusing on. Just, you know, when we were shooting, it was like the family drama is the glue. If this doesn't work, the rest doesn't matter. You know,
it also makes me feel better about my family situation, because like,
because we're a mess.
Yeah, it just can't get as bad as it is for these guys.
Exactly.
Let's talk about Dolores. She's such a badass.
Oh my God.
So how was she written in the comic novels, and what was fun to kind of bring to life about her?
Well, in the graphic novel, she was definitely I would say a lot less nurturing. She's kind of stone cold roughness, you know, definitely a badass in the graphic novel. But I think what had to change was, I think her level of compassion. I think there was a level of compassion and warmth and maternal sort of energy that was added to her that I didn't quite see in the graphic novel.
You know, that was my first thought.
Yeah.
I was like, what kind of woman is in this secret organization where she gets to kill monsters all day? She seems very fulfilled by it.
Oh, yeah.
And then she's like, let's start a family.
I just want little babies, you know? Yeah, it's a paradox. She's definitely a paradox.
But how do you think, it sounds like you guys have maybe softened her a little bit in the series. So
for sure.
How does that impact how she moves forward in her work? The fact that she is a mother and is more nurturing in this version of it.
You know, it's interesting because I've always described Dolores as a believer. Like, I think she believes in what she's doing with the Presidio. She's a card-carrying member. She believes in what the Presidio's doing. She has no doubts that she's on the right side of things, and that she's helping save the human race. And in the same regard, I feel like, you know, the secrets that she's keeping from her children and the job that she does is helping protect her children. So she really is a protector, whether it's her own family, whether it's the human race at large. You know, she's sort of, you know, mothering.
I do like that conversation early on, though, about like, when do we tell the kids? Because at some point.
At some points, the world's going to tell them it's not going to be cute. Exactly. It's not going to be cute.
What I've learned from this show is like, I don't think it's going to be cute. I think it's going to be terrifying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your co-star, JC Mackenzie.
Oh,
your
so
chemistry is, I mean, your chemistry has to be right or it doesn't really work, because you guys are this married couple and you live in this dual life, and you guys, the comedic back and forth and the comfort you guys have is so fun to watch. So did you guys get to do a chemistry read, or what was the casting like for that part?
You know, it was wild. JC was cast. I was cast. We never met. We didn't speak. I knew of his work. He knew of mine. And usually there is a chemistry read, but they didn't. This was just so last minute, the whole process. We got flown to Toronto. We met. We literally said, hey, let's go for coffee. Shouldn't we maybe, before we do the husband and wife thing, we should maybe like shake hands. And immediately I think we knew that it was going to be easy, because he and I just like got on like a house on fire, and his sensibilities regarding the process are really, we just approached the whole thing similarly. So we would, on weekends, we just play with some of our scenes, because we wanted it to feel, there is a texture to familiarity, and you can't fake that. So we really wanted to kind of, you know, we hoped it worked. So.
And you can feel it, because these two characters have known each other since they were children.
Oh, yeah.
So that
high school sweetheart.
Yeah,
so you kind of have to have that thing, that sort of, you know, like couples, by the way, like never look at each other when they talk. They're talking through walls. They're talking, you know, there's just a familiarity that means you don't have to get precious with each other, you know, like, and that's what we were kind of trying to find our way into.
There's a lot of monsters in the show.
There are some pretty good monsters.
People had grasped that already.
Yeah.
What is it like on set? Are there just like weird like werewolf heads everywhere and blood? I mean, when I think about what the set must look like on a show like this, it must be kind of outrageous.
Do you know, it's hilarious, because for the most part, none of those effects were happening when we were shooting. Yeah, like with the vamps, they just had these dots on their faces, and they would do this. And that was how we were supposed to. And they were like, imagine that these funky teeth are coming out, and this is what it's going to look like, and react to that. So yeah, that was kind of what we got mostly.
Do you have a memorable day on set? I feel like you guys are put in a lot of different situations.
Oh yeah, I definitely remember we were in the middle of what they were calling the polar vortex. Like the coldest weather you
Oh, I
can
remember.
possibly
Yeah.
imagine. And I was wearing, the jeans. Like I had that one outfit that I was like monster hunting in for the entire season. So these tight jeans, no socks, a vest, like a really, very small winter jacket, and hot pockets in like hot shots on every part of my body that I could stick them. That was memorable because I felt like I might not make it.
Yes.
It was awesome.
You never think about those things when you watch a show.
No, you really don't.
Actors, we really put you through a lot, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and there was one of course, this is a little bit of a spoiler. I have a scene with Edith, who's played by Megan Follows, and it was so cold that our mouths were literally not working. So I'm trying to talk and I'm sounding like this, like a bit of a drunk. Because it was so damn cold. Does it happen in New York where you're just like, can't talk?
Yeah, but I don't have to like act on a show.
Yeah, no, and I'm trying to enunciate. I was like, Edith, don't think you can get away with it, Edith.
Can you please tell us what episode this is?
Oh my gosh, I think it was 10.
Okay.
It was 10.
I will look for that.
Oh yeah.
That's why I love doing this job. I'm like, just give me little things to
Yeah, I
look
sound
for.
hammered. I just sound hammered.
You should have just told us you were hammered.
Yes, exactly.
That would have made it
It would have
fun.
made it way more fun.
So you guys shoot this in Canada?
Yeah.
You're Canadian, right?
Yeah.
Is that fun for you? You're not from Toronto though? Right?
I am
You
from
are?
Toronto, and
Oh,
it was
okay.
the first time I got to go back and shoot something in my hometown. It was crazy. It was really fun.
How has the city changed? Like, is it like a weird experience to be there?
It's crazy. It's still, thank God it's recognizable, but like, I'm sure much like New York, there are just so many areas that work up and coming that have just been wildly gentrified. So it feels like the downtown center is just huge now. It goes on for miles and miles, whereas before it was just like one street.
Yeah. I feel like the film industry has helped. There's so many things that are filmed there now.
Oh, yeah.
Like I just keep hearing about Toronto over and over again.
Well, and part of where we shot the Paris stuff, which you guys will get to, and actually a lot of our exteriors just a lot of our exteriors around the sheriff's office are in Cambridge. And I don't know if you guys notice, that's also where The Handmaid's Tale. I was like, this is also Gilead. Yeah.
So cool.
I love terrifying.
I also read that you left high school to start acting.
Yeah.
So where did that passion come from to be that bold at that age?
Man, I think it was absolute hubris. I just thought, if not now, when? Like, it feels like with acting, anything creative, starting early is sort of your best shot. And I remember sitting down with my mom and thinking, oh boy, this is going to be a really rough conversation. And I kind of broached the subject. I think I want to quit or just take some time off. And she said, honey, do you know what you want to do? And I said, yeah, I want to act. And she said, will you be okay if you're not famous? And I said, yeah, I want to act. And she said, okay, I support you. As long as you get a job and you pay rent and you do, you're a full-grown adult now. And that was it.
So then you just moved to LA?
It took me probably about 3-4 years to save up my money. My best friend, Cree Summer, had moved to LA, and I would come and visit. And then finally, I built up the nerve and took the leap.
So you knew, I just assumed, because I saw in your IMDb, like you had an uncredited role on A Different World, which I love.
Oh, yeah.
you knew
Cree
Cree
was like,
before
you
then.
got to bring my best friend in. You got to give her first line.
That's so cool.
Oh, yeah.
So when you look back at that phase in your career, like, what do you think? Because it really does seem like you were following, like, your gut a lot.
Oh, completely. And I was wildly terrified. It like, for someone who's shy, which I think naturally I'm an introvert, everything about it was terrifying. And initially I started acting because I thought, if I can do this, if I can overcome my fear of speaking in front of people, like, by the way, there was a little flop sweat happening backstage, because it's just like, oh God, okay. But if I can get over that fear, I can do anything. I didn't think I'd fall in love with acting. I didn't expect that. I just wanted to kind of overcome what I thought was an obstacle to me living my life to my fullest.
And now you have fallen in love with it.
I've completely fallen in love with it.
What is it that you still love about it?
Oh man, the magic, the honest moments, the moments, because I'm not one of those actors that loses myself in my role. You're always aware that there's a camera right there on an arm and there are people around you and you're just doing your best to focus on who you're talking to. And every now and then there's that magic where you actually just lose everything because the moment's so honest. Those are the sweet spots. It's like pure magic to me.
And you played the same character on Bones for so long, and I'm always
Yeah.
really fascinated when you get to like actually live with a character for that period of time.
12 years.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how did you develop and change and grow in that role, getting just to get to know that character and play her for so long?
Well, it's funny. I felt like it was up to the writers. I like just when I think that I knew Cam, the writers would write something new, and I'd be like, "Oh, wow, okay." I didn't know Cam had phobias. I didn't know Cam had a fear of spiders, which I think they might have based on me. But yeah, like I felt like I grew along with her as the writers were discovering her. I was discovering her. We'd kind of hash it out, and sometimes I'd come up with an idea. So. It was a nice evolution.
And after that chapter ended, then where did you set your intention? Like, what kind of projects did you look forward to doing? Because I feel like your career probably comes in phases. Like when something like that closes, you have to.
Well, I just thought I want to go out. I want to dive into the deep end here because I had spent, over a decade on network television, which, I love. And there's quality content to be had, but there's only so much you can explore. And so I was hankering for something a little deeper and darker. So, I got Altered Carbon. I was like, yes, okay, here I come, Netflix, here I come.
I love that.
Yeah, it was
and
great.
So what challenges are you looking forward to? I mean, this, like you said, you had never done like a sci-fi.
Yes.
Right?
Hi, guys.
Isn't it lovely seeing it this big?
Cool. I'm taking a picture of this.
Please do.
So
You can
good.
just take the whole monitor.
Can I take
Yeah.
Would that be
They're
weird?
detachable.
Excellent.
So yeah, this was something that was new and different for you, doing kind of sci-fi and digging into this world. Are there any other sort of roles or genres or just projects that you would like to explore?
Well, in the last couple of years, I've had some really fun things come down the pike. I got to after we finished October Faction, that went into editing, and then I got this really small film called Marzipan, where I get to play sort of a down on her luck. Alcoholic CIA operative that just wants to get out of the business and gets one last assignment so that she can get her retirement and basically drink herself to death. Right. And her assignment is basically to try to seduce a mark that's friends with a Saudi family that they want intel on. Yeah. And it's kind of like a weird Harold and Maude story. They end up sort of falling for each other. They're just these two lonely oddballs who end up kind of finding love, oddly.
You just gave like an amazing description of that film. I was like, I
really?
See that.
Oh,
yeah, the whole thing,
cool.
like, so she could do this, so she could drink herself to death. I'm like,
oh yeah, pretty
man,
much. Yeah,
that's dark, and I want to see it.
Oh yeah, it was fun to do. I was just like, yay, I get to dive into something messy.
Yeah. Do you ever have an issue leaving characters once you play them? Like, I would imagine a character like that kind of makes you look in yourself a lot and go into some places.
For sure.
It's easy to leave that.
Yeah, like I did find that on set you want to stay kind of, in the mode. It's hard to kind of jump in and out of like, in that place because I definitely sort of allowed myself to go a little darker and a little deeper than I usually do. But once I'm home, I'm home. Yeah. The glass of wine is poured. Characters left at the door, and then you just put her back on tomorrow.
Yeah, you do seem like you have like a very light energy.
Yeah. I can't wear dark for long, so it's fun to play. It's fun to play at it.
Exactly, and then leave it where it belongs.
Exactamente. Exactly.
We do have a question or two before we get out of here. Who's got the first one?
Hi. Thank you so much for everything so far. So we're kind of moving in the direction in the world of entertainment where everything is going to be on a streaming service soon.
It sure is. Isn't that crazy?
We just had Best Picture nomination from Netflix.
Exactly.
How is it for you as an actress comparing your work from being originally on network television to now being more on streaming services? How is it different for you?
How would I compare my work, or how
would you
the
compare
experience?
the experience, I guess?
The experience, I think both mediums are really, really cool in their own way. Like Netflix, network television, you get standalone episodes. So basically, you can plug any episode in at any time. They're not in any sequential, order. Which is kind of cool because it wraps everything up in a neat little bow. So your chops have to be tight. It's a little tidier. Which also I found kept your chops up, but it didn't allow for the depth of storytelling that I think can happen with the streaming, services. It's just like, it's fun to be able to get to tell a story from beginning to end, knowing that, people are going to watch the next episode and the next episode, and you don't have to, you can give the audience intelligence because they're along for the ride with you, which I think network can sometimes, I think they can doubt that people have enough bandwidth to hold on to what happened last week, remember what happened with the characters, and continue, So it's, there. I like the depth, the depths that we get to mine.
Breadth over depth.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, and I was telling you this before, I was going through like social media, and I feel like it's easier for people to discover shows and become like rabid fans
Oh,
of
yeah.
streaming services, because there were so many posts about this show, and I was like,
love that.
it just breeds that community so
Yeah.
much faster, I think, than maybe network does,
Yeah, well, and there's something really cool about finding something on your own. Like fans, we're all fans, and we all want to find that gem.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing better than saying, "Oh my God, oh yeah, have you not watched? You've got to check out Strays. It's amazing." And it, like the word of mouth thing. It's just it's got, I don't know. There's a currency to it for fans.
It makes you feel like you're missing out a lot. Like you're like, oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, and like you've discovered a treasure, and you're hipping the world to it, which is like really cool.
That's sort of why I like my job, because I have to watch everything.
Oh, that's
So
great.
like in any conversation, I'm like, yeah, I've seen it, and I like am a source of information for people.
Oh, that's so good. That's really good. Yeah.
I can always strike up a conversation with a stranger. I'll just be like, what are you watching?
That's amazing. And I feel like right now, there's an embarrassment of riches in terms of streaming programming. It's just like,
What are you watching?
Well, I just finished Succession. Woo, whoa, dark and beautiful. I was just like, wow, this is an
Talk
acting
about a
clinic.
complicated family.
Wow. Yeah, I was definitely hooked. I was like, one more? Can we do one? Okay, just one more tonight. And by the end of the night, you're like, we've watched 7. Oh, totally, exactly.
A whole bottle of wine at that point.
Oh, and I couldn't tell who I like. Is anyone good on this show? Does anyone have a moral compass? So of course I had to watch season 2 because you got to find out.
They're all monsters.
Yeah, that was my latest binge. And Fleabag before that. I'm obsessed. I'm going to see her one-woman show on Saturday. I'm so excited.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, she's doing. It started as a one-woman show at the Fringe Festival. She's doing it in L.A. And I think she did it in New York as well,
I
right?
missed it. She did. My friend went when she did it.
Oh, she's my girl crush, Phoebe
I think
Waller-Bridge.
she's everybody's girl crush. She's just
So
so like
good.
accessible and honest.
Oh, and so
I've never
smart.
seen those topics explored on TV ever.
Yeah, and do you like what I love is that I don't think any of us realize that we didn't see her naked at all. She was just raunchy. She implied a lot of bad things, but never went for it. I love
Language
it.
is a beautiful thing.
Oh, it's so good.
One more.
Hi.
Hey.
So you've played so many characters in so many different genres, drama, supernatural, all of this stuff. I was wondering if you had a genre that you preferred or one that you'd like to tackle, or if there's a character that you'd always want to play or one that exists but you were a little jealous of because you couldn't play it.
Wow, okay. I have a secret love of kung fu films. Like, Bride with the White Hair, The Heroic Trio, Master of the Flying Guillotine, like, The Legend of Feng Sayok, I love. So I was really, really obsessed with The Heroic Trio, which was Maggie Cheung, Michelle Yeoh, Maggie Cheung, and I can't remember who the other one was. And what I wanted to do was make it, and I think RZA got here before me, but I wanted to make it with 3 brown girls and have the Wu-Tang do the soundtrack and just have it be really authentically cool. Like there's nothing better than seeing the flips and landing on a wall. I like to see the strings almost happening. The element of the supernatural is really cool. I would love to get the opportunity to do that. Yeah.
That is such a cool and unexpected response. You knew like deep cut, real kung fu.
Oh yeah, no. I think I'm like a teenage boy trapped in a woman's body. I'm like 13. I'm a 13-year-old boy.
I love that. So wait, what's your favorite kung fu movie then?
I would say probably Heroic Trio first, but The Legend of Feng Sayuk was pretty badass. That was Jet Li before like America knew who Jet Li was, right?
This is out of my depth, but you have given me things to watch.
Really good.
I'm
Really
very
good.
excited.
But Heroic Trio, I like female-driven kung fu films. So also Bride with the White Hair is pretty badass.
Guys, add that to your watch list.
Yep.
In addition to October Faction.
Excellent.
And it's easy because this is streaming now. So if you haven't watched it, you're already missing out because everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Congrats on the show. It's really great.
Thank you
Fingers
so
crossed
much.
for season 2. We got to see what happens, right?
Yes.
Guys, put your hands together for Tamara Taylor.
Oh, thank you guys.